It's time for game number 2 of our showcase of a new Civ. That's right, it's the return of Persia in the south side. Playing Persia for the second time in this series, we've got Gully Deckle here on Golden Heights going up against Dragavan's cozy comfort Civ. It is, of course, the one and only Abbasid dynasty. There's going to be a lot of dynasties in this game, though, considering that this Civ has some dynasties of their own. Remember, this is a variant Civ that has been added to the game by the hard sweat and toil of one of the modders in the community. Shout out to Hosen who created this. Let me update the best of. That is not a best of 3. We are doing a best of 5 show match. If you did not catch game 1, that was a mirror match between Persia. Really cool one. This Civ adds a lot of different things. It has a weaker starting economy because it has only 5 villages and 1 spearman to start. But the spearman adds something else in. The spearman can build. And look at what he's doing already. I knew this is why Gully wanted Golden Heights. He was the one who recommended Golden Heights, and this is why. This is sick. He runs the spearman out, and this means that, for example, if a villager comes out to mirror you, you can kill the villager, right? Because you have 6 damage and a decent attack speed, 1.75. That's a smart read, actually, by Gully. I didn't even think about that detail. A lot of people saw this spearman thing and thought this was going to be cheesy outpost rushing. I don't think outpost rushing is as feasible as you think with this Civ. But this is cool. Straight away in the fishing boats. Now, another interesting thought. Dragavan can't play fishing at all, because if he comes out now, these should be Delhi fishing boats, if I'm not mistaken. Hosen will correct me if I'm wrong. Which means that you can shoot the villagers when they show up. And yes, let me correct it. It's a play all 5. Because we're basically going to be showing off the new Civ throughout this, but we're also going to be showing off a new map in game 4 and 5. Here you go, guys. You don't see it often, but on a map like this, actually. I can't believe I'm saying this. Delhi have found a way to look good on Golden Heights. You just have to pick the variant Civ. If you want to try this out yourself, by the way, as we're getting ready for the tech up, the way you do it is you go download the mod. It's literally called Persia. And all you have to do is select that as a tuning pack. And then whenever you pick Delhi, you'll get Persia instead. It's not the ideal way. I'd love to have Persia and Delhi in the game as well. But given the limitations on modding, I think we should be giving a lot of praise to the incredible work the modders have been putting together here. Military wing coming in from Dragavan, pretty standard. Oh, for God's sake, I already know what he's going to do. Guys, he's going to clown cutter. So if you remember, in game 1, Gully Deckle leaned very hard on archers to try and win the game. I think Dragavan's making a bit of a gamble that the same is going to happen here. Because if it does, then actually, theoretically, a clown car with either a siege tower or ram could GG Gully. I've got a feeling Gully's going to be aware of this, though. I mean, we might be looking at a game where he plays pretty hard into men-at-arms, which, with the right choice in landmark and tech, can be a very powerful element in the Persian Empire. Click on the dock. Oh, we got unique techs. What are we looking for here? Oh, you can actually decrease the cost of naval arrow slits. That's kind of intriguing. I can see that being really good on 4 legs. So it's a 250 resource tech, but you discount 125. So you break even if you have 2 docks that need emplacements. That's pretty powerful, actually. That's kind of wild. And then outside that, I think there wasn't anything else. Some of the tooltips are going to just be dead, like it has the influence stuff about mosques. This Civ doesn't get their techs for free. They have to pay for them. So although it's a Telly variant, that's one very big difference they have, is they have to pay for these things. Tech up complete. Dragavan down his way. I mean, the military wing's pretty effective on a map this short, especially in a game where you consider Gully went for fishing, which means his tech timing is going to be notably later. So this is a very punish-oriented approach. I think Gully may have made a whoopsie here. He should have been using the spearman back home to build an outpost right here. That would have been huge for his woodlines. Now he's at risk. And oh my god, he's going to clown car him. One and all, if you haven't witnessed it before, this is a Dragavan special. It's the Siege Tower Archer build. Oh, I love it. Gully, in the meantime, is going to be going for the Gunderspur. I went very... Every time I see this, I sound German. The Gunderspur. This is a landmark that has unique eco or military techs, but you have to choose one. And I already see Hosen in chat being like, what the hell? He's like, I came for a serious show match. Well, you shouldn't have invited Dragavan. So if you haven't seen this before, it's quite simple. You've probably seen the clown carring from Rams. This is a better clown car. It has more health, more movement speed, and costs 125 wood compared to 200. This is going to allow him to move around the base very quickly, shooting at villages. This is disgusting. This is, like, Dragavan is on a sole singularity mission to get this nerfed. I love the spears as well. So he's control grouped the archers and spears to different numbers so he can pull them out independently without exposing everything at once. Gully's like, crap, not this again. Villagers on the way. It's only 3 archers right now, so it shouldn't be too impactful. And here's the text we were talking about. You have to choose eco or melee. I think this is a melee win game. You have to go melee. Melee and then mass melee. Instead, he's going for an archer range. No, 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 not like this. Dragavan, we are a serious show match, showing off serious new things. Villagers being pulled. He doesn't have wheelbarrow either. Oh my god, this hurts. He did at least get the archer range up. So you could go Persian horse archers here, but that's kind of a death, right? Like, you're going to have to get too close, you're not getting anything. He's going to play Kamandars, because Kamandars have 7 tower range, which means they can just shoot when the archers come out. The problem with this strategy is it doesn't work, because the arrows are going to take too long to arrive on their target, so Dragavan will just re-garrison before they hit. Villagers are at least getting decent damage in. It's only 2 archers. Guys, this is only wave 1, though. Dragavan is ready to bring the new troopers in. He's built double archery range proxy here. I actually think this might be over. This strat is so hard to counter, man. It's so absurd on maps like this. Mark my words, Dragavan is going to make a grand final this year. It's going to be because of this. Immediately builds another siege tower. The #1 reason everyone bans Abbasids against him. There's always a chance he'll do something like this. They build so fast as well. Like, look at the difference in build time between these 2 options. A ram takes 1 minute and 10 seconds. A siege tower takes 30 seconds. That's another element of insanity to this. It just allows you to be more active. Gully finally queuing up his first archer, but I've got to ask the question. Why? What does this do? Why didn't Gully ban Abba? Because he's a competitive player. He's like, oh, you got to ban HRE. Let's ban Byzantines. Oh, Roosh needs to go as well. Whoa, 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 whoa. Can't let China through. And then this. Like, who gets into Golden Heights and expects Abbasids? Let's be real here. Archer count still not that high for Dragavan. He needs to go for the villagers. Here we go. Trying to snipe them down. No textiles. Gully, I mean, he needs to gather gold. He actually needs textiles to survive this. But it might be too late at this pacing. Siege tower goes down. Archers are going to fight, though. A lot of economy lost. Right now, Dragavan ahead by 8 eco. Jesus. Make that 9. I can't believe this. Oh, well, we were worried that Persia was going to be OP, but we forgot that Dragavan Clown Car is more OP. This is the guy that proxy TCs the enemy base and builds a full range underneath the nose. This is the guy that Clown Cars into the enemy base and takes out half their economy. Why did we think some twincy-wincy, incy-wincy, strong lancers in Castle Age would matter when Delhi can't, or rather Persians can't even get there? He's got another one. So remember, the first 2 weren't full power. This is 10 archers now, with Steeled Arrow on the way. That's brutal. That almost one-hits these archers. Oh my god, he's just so dead. He's just He's like, well, this is idle time, man. It's going to take you 480 shots to kill it, so I might as well just sit here. Remember when we were like, siege towers suck? Well, what now? It's time for game 3 of our Persia and new map showcase show match between Dragavan and Gully Dekul. After game 2 and the shenanigans that Dragavan got up to on his Abbasids, it looks like Gully Dekul is looking to return fire with a Malian build here up against not the Delhi, but Persia. This name, think of it different in your brain. This is the variant Civ of the Delhi that was created by Hosen. Love to see it back in action, and already you see something a little bit different here. Spearman, this is what we talked about, right? The ability to build up these structures, you have to do this as well. Because otherwise, you're just one villager down. Like, the only thing the Spearman can do is A, attack, or B, build. You could maybe go for a deer shaft, that's another option, but if the Malian player comes in a bit too early, a bit too fast, you're not even going to get a chance to do that. Gully, can you please find sheep? Holy crap. So they both went down the center and they kind of locked out. I believe we are playing on... Is this the... This is definitely Dry Arabia. Yeah, this is Dry Arabia. So interesting. Dragovan went a bit normie. If you remember last game, we had it on Golden Heights. Gully Decker was getting a bit creative. Dragovan's like, I just want to see how good these guys are on a normal map, please. Those spears feel like a waste. What do they do? They have some uses. It's a different kind of build, right? I think there's like some interesting proxy plays. Like, not gonna lie, guys, we're looking at the proxy master right now. I don't think anyone in Age of Empires 4 proxy bases more often than Dragovan. You don't think you give him a spearman that can build bases is gonna use it? I mean, he's moving. I don't want to jinx it, but this is looking, funnily enough, quite a bit like a guy who's gonna go for a proxy base. Other side, Gully Decker playing as Malians. Is he just gonna fast castle? I guess that's kind of crafty, right? Because with the way that the Persians work, they have to spend a long time getting the full tech upgrades on all their units to veterancy. So they're pretty limited in their comp, unless they've got a lot of eco to go Safavid Dynasty with. So the idea of just fast castling is pretty creative by Gully. The funny thing is, after game 1, a lot of people are like, oh my god, Persia's going to be OP. These unit numbers. What the hell were you thinking, host? And KP, this won't work. But after clown carring in game 2, I'm curious now to see, with no clown carring, whether actually maybe the Persians are underpowered compared to a lot of other civs. Because the funny thing is, Malians right now, I'd say they're like a bottom 5 civ. They're actually not very good. A big part of their value previously was that English was very heavily meta, and they countered it hard. But now they don't even counter the English with this new king build. There you go. We had people asking, what's the value of having a spearman early? We found it. Remember, these spearmen are weaker than standard spears, by the way. They only cost 65 resources each, but their stats are lower. The upside is, of course, that building element. I'm a little bit surprised by Dragovan, right? Like, just trying to deny a house over here instead of just going and building up the Rudkin quicker. But in fairness, the spearmen can harass the initial villagers coming out to repair a bit better. So Gully might end up in a situation where he has to sacrifice a house. So for those that have not seen the Rudkin Castle, the Rudkin Castle is a town center feudal landmark. You want to scream OP, but calm down. It costs 3 times as much as a town center to produce out of. So you pay 50 food here, you have to pay 150 food to build them out of this. Outside that, it does have one little eco benefit, and that's that it makes outposts only 50 wood each. I still prefer the alternative choice. The alternative one that you could have went with would have been the Gunda Shapur. I think the meta will be this. These eco upgrades, even the melee wing upgrades, feel very strong. I'm just not entirely convinced that this is better than going eco wing and getting a second TC. Because if you go eco wing with the eco landmark, you can get villages for 25 food each. Yes, it's a 3-min delay villager, right? Because like the average villager is going to gather 45 resources a minute. I'd say not even a 3-min delay, it's more of a 2-min delay, right? Like you're 2 minutes more to get value out of a villager, because a villager by default, 50 resources, gathering rate is between 40 to 50 in most cases for starting resources. So paying 3 times adds 2 minutes of gathering in. This landmark unlocks the feudal Savar. Oh, that's the cavalry, right? Thank you for pointing that out, Hosen. Hosen, who created the mod. So the Savar come from here. So the Savar, for those who don't know, the stables produces Savars. These are going to be feudal knights that are more like Ghazi. Sorry, that does it a bit weird on the UI. Basically, the way that works is that they have the Ghazi bonus damage against heavy, but they're a heavy knight themselves. I still think that's going to be the broken unit. And Dragovan up to shenanigans here. It's going to be the outpost. Now, funny thing, a few players tested this, and apparently the outpost rush isn't as strong as you'd think. Oh wow, Dragovan cancelled it. I guess you can force idle time, but now there's an archer here, this is worthless. You haven't really... I don't feel like you've got enough value out of this play. It probably would have been better just to have built up quicker at home, but I guess you could argue he delayed any aggro coming out, because I think Dragovan's big focus is greeding a bit. And if he can bait Gully Decker into reacting to Dark and Feudal Age, then he can build a lead there, because it means that the Malians aren't going for their real win condition, which is fast castle. And Jav's now getting added in by Gully. Interesting. So he's expecting the archers. By the way, I actually think that the Persian archers might counter javelin throws. remember the Persian archers, they come with 7 tile range. They have lower base damage than longbows, but they have the same movement speed as jabs. So you can kite a bit better, right? You can stay on the edge of range. So when you're defending against jabs, it's a little bit stronger. Why so early farm? I think it's probably just the reliability of long-term food sources, right? Because he's got, what, 12 sheep? Berry-wise, he might just get blocked off that by the Archer Javelin play. It seems like more of a safe choice by Dragavan. This also leans into the idea of going for the Eco Wing landmark instead, because if he'd gone for that one, he could have got 25 wood discount on each farm placed. Which, if I remember correctly, is like 150 or 200 resource tech. So by the time you pay, by the time you place 8 farms, you would have paid it back. Golly has now got the cows coming in. So we are definitely looking at fast castle win condition. I'm still scratching my brain as to what Dragavan's win condition is. It kind of feels like he's going fast castle too. It's very expensive, though, along the way, scaling this eco. It will pay off down the line, but my question mark is, does it pay off quicker than a cow boom from the Malians? Because right now, Gully should just be prioritizing mills, and he is doing it indeed. Second mill coming in. So this should be, what, castle age by 11 minutes-ish, I think? Works. And yes, the tiny Berkshire is adorable. This is a baby Berkshire. Everyone wanted Berkshire nerfed. Berkshire nerfed. Okay, so Dragavan isn't building any production whatsoever. He's legit just going for an eco boom. I don't know what else I expected here. This guy is an Abbasid main. This is bread and butter Abbasid brain right now. I like villagers, give me villagers. It's a little bit in reverse though, right? Because the Rudkin Castle makes you pay 3 times as much each villager out of it. So compared to Abbasids where they get the 35% discount, it's kind of the polar opposite. More ranchers coming in. Gully. He could even potentially go up to 3 mills. That might strain him a bit. And it looks like Dragavan is actually building military. Wait. It's a proxy base! Why are we surprised? Actually, I'm a little bit shocked. I think Dragavan done himself a disservice here. He sent villagers out. He could have used that spearman. That's what I was anticipating. When the spearman died, I lost all faith. But look at this. Immediately queues up the Dailami Mace Hoseman. That's meant to be horsemen. These are basically Ghazi Raiders with lower base damage. But look at the heavy damage. Right? So like, it's a bit of an interesting unit. It's a little bit like a horseman and a Ghazi Met. You pay the extra, but you get some value out of that. You get the extra health. I actually think these are quite nicely balanced. The extra heavy damage is kind of intriguing. It makes it a bit more situational. So Ghazi now on the march. They're going to hit hard against the ranged units. I think the extra health kind of just makes it worth the extra cost anyway still. Right? It's like, in some ways it's a weaker Ghazi, but in other ways it's actually a lot stronger. I do think it's kind of weak against Malians, because unless they go sofas, you don't really do anything, right? Like the heavy damage is where the most value is. Because usually the heavy is +2, but you're getting +6. Burn here. Gully Decker. We didn't even talk about his spawn, actually. Like, what the f... I'm sorry, do you even spawn balanced? He got 3 gold veins right next to each other. But don't worry, folks. Dragavan is here to deny him. The house right next to the Malian base. Awesome marching in. Good grabs. Villagers actually getting idled out. They can't even get the outpost up quick enough here. Donzos are flooding out, but they need to come a lot quicker than this. You can see Dragavan is scaling a lot of cav. Blacksmith's also dropped here, but he hasn't actually used it at all yet. So I guess he wanted a reason to. Get quite a lot of value out of the melee tech, actually, considering you're only a 9 damage unit. Dragavan with a lot of food behind this. I think he needs more production. Villagers still getting idled out. So Outpost will complete for Dragavan successfully. Outpost is going to go up for Gully as well, but I mean, the question is who gets more value out of this? Because surely Dragavan can now just camp here, kill the Spearman with the Outpost, and then take out the Pit Mine. And there's nothing you can do with this Outpost placement. This is pretty good, actually, from Dragavan. And very unexpected, but it really shouldn't have been. We mentioned this guy does proxy bases more than any other player I've seen in the top 500 on AoE4. And remember, Dragavan is like top 200. He's a very talented player. There's a reason he got invited by default to King of the North, and it's not because there's a lack of Norwegians. Okay, maybe that's part of it. But still, he's a very talented player. Archery range is built here as well. This is just mad. I can't believe he's building the base right next to gullies. Has to cancel though, unfortunately. Oh boy. Oh, we have a problem. That's a lot of Donzos. And he's only got Cav. Dragavan, buddy, in the kindest way possible, you know you can build other units, right? I don't think he cares, because look at the economy. I mean, Gully pretty much has all the cows in place. And yes, the eco lead's quite big for Dragavan, but what I'm seeing is a lack of way out now. You're about to be an age behind. The cows are offsetting quite a lot of the food value you're getting, the power value you're getting out of your eco lead, right? Like the 6 of these, they're each worth about 2 villages roughly. So that's 12 villages extra. So he's at 52 versus 57. Add in the Farimba, and Gully's going to be a mile ahead. Sorry, Fulani. My brain's Farimba because of the imp Farimba choice that the Persians have. Gully now ready for the tech up. House is being burnt down, and all of a sudden Dragavan has got to play for a much later phase in the game. I do not favor the Persians from this position in Castle. I think it's going to be a bit of a slippery slope, a hard battle. Awesome Raiders at least coming in. That's the downside, remember, with these Ghazi clones. The Daylami Mace Horsemen do not have... I keep wanting to say Horsemen. They don't have as much damage as the Ghazi. They have as much health. So hitting villages is a lot slower of a process. I love this from Gully. He got textiles. What's going up means Dragavan now has very limited options. He's saving up for his own tech up. In the meantime, there's going to be a dive in from the Donzos. Oh my god! Malians are OP! How can he dive a Berkshire? It's not a Berkshire. It looks like a Berkshire, but remember, this is just a poor man's King's Palace. Dive will at least get cleared up, but the next wave is what worries me now. Gully Deku, he could easily just start spamming sofas, and I think that's what's on the agenda. Extra racks is also being dropped. Tech up should be coming through soon for Dragavan. He's going to have to go for the defensive landmark. He has to be paranoid about what comes next. So we're going to be looking at, I would assume here, it has to be the Nachir Castle. No one's going to go Ali Kapu in this series. The issue with Ali Kapu is like the trade sounds really good if you get it online, but it's still you getting trade online in Castle Age. It sounds OP in theory, but it needs such a big lead. So interesting. Hosen, the creator of this mod, is saying the thing that's paining him is the lack of Zamnadar usage because they're the eco bonus. I'm inclined to agree. It's a 55 resource spearman. So if you build something with that instead of a villager, and across a minute you build stuff, right? You've saved yourself enough gathering on that village to basically pay for the spearman in 1 minute. And then it's still an aggressive unit afterwards. I think the spearmen are kind of interesting. The issue with Persians is by having that spearman at the start and only 5 villages, you are notably weaker in economy, though. That is undeniable. Right? Your feudal timing will be later than other civs. Tech up complete. Gully Deck, in the meantime, is ramping up into the sofa. We also have Musafadi in the way. Smart choice, because I think Dragavan's going to try to go for Cav. It's probably the one player that can get back in this game, right? He's already got the stables over here. The funny thing for Gully right now is he's looking at the base like, wait, where are the stables? Because they were built on the other side of the map. Dragavan won't insta-die to this. He has at least got the keep to protect him, right? This is basically a white tower level of power. Gully, quite gluttonous with this dive. I don't like this at all. That's a lot of Donzos to be losing, and you're not really killing much eco for it. It's actually giving a way in which Dragavan might be able to snake his way back in this game. Are we going fast imp, or are we going to spend? All right, he's made up his mind. Racks now being dropped. Wait, is he making his choice based on the fact he doesn't see Musafadi? Because if so, I've got bad news. They're here too. Because when you build a racks like this, most of the options you're looking at, like it's basically going to be the men-at-arms, right? That's what I'm expecting. Defensive landmarks. I mean, at least it, guys, before anyone flames and says defensive landmarks OP, at least it's being used for defensive purposes for once. I want you guys to realize that if Dragavan wanted, there are going to be games with the Persians where you could mass spearmen and then build the Nachir castle in the enemy base with spearmen. Gully now with the proxy siege workshop. As a taste of his own medicine, Dragavan immediately queuing up the knights on the other side of the map, so he's made his choice. We are getting the Safavid Savars. These are heavily armored Ghazi. They have the stats of a knight, but they also get bonus damage versus heavy. So this is actually a very smart reaction to Masofa. The problem I have is whether you have the scale. Right, that's a lot of idle time at home. I feel like you're going to keep getting limited over here. And at the same time, you're still up against the full power Fulani. And yes, this is a Seagate castle that has been modified. He's tweaked it to look slightly different. Slightly. Natchia castle. Remember, this is a variant civ made through modding support, which means it had to use existing mods. And actually, I want to give a really big shout out to Hosin. There are a few units that might need tweaking because they aren't easily identified. But I think he's done a good job with the limitations put on him. Somehow those limitations don't feel as hard as the ones put on Dragavan here. This is brutal. Safavid Swordsman coming out, but these units are tanky. They're good at the initial strike, but they're terrible at prolonged engagements. They're basically a worse men at arms the longer the fight goes. I see these swordsmen as more of like a raidy type unit, an initiation unit. They aren't a great front line. That's what he needs right now. The dive is coming in. Dragavan is just losing economy. He's at least mirroring a dive on the other side, but with a few sofas coming out, I feel like the damage output is negligible from these raids from Dragavan. He has bigger problems at home. Rams now coming out from Gully. Walls are also going up. So this night raid, not bad, but I don't see him getting this again. Second wave's coming in before the walls go up, though. This could be big if he snipes these villages. Remember, Gully is 1 TC, as is always the case for Malians. In the meantime, continue to idle out the secondary TC, the expensive one. Interestingly enough, Dragavan, he went with these mass farms, I think, so he could actually afford the Rudkin Castle long term. Now, with the Ram arriving, remember, this is only a 2.5k HP landmark. It does not last long. Raids are going to get mirrored out, so Sofa's able to block this one off. And remember, Sofas, they're quicker than these knights. They will always chase them down. And you see the power. Like, look at the HP bars. Just a few of these knights and the damage they can do. That's because they do 10 plus heavy damage and 21 base mace. But it's still not going to be enough. Sofa's also raiding the other side of the map. And this game is looking close to over. I think this is a tough one for Dragavan. He went for this cute proxy base, but I don't think he was efficient about it. If he used the Spearman, he could have had a cleaner timing. Instead, Persia not looking as OP as maybe we first thought. That is the second loss for Persia in a row. We've still got 2 more games to come with each player getting 1 more taste of Persia. But now we're going to do it on a brand new map. I'm so excited for this. This is what I've been hiding. This is what we've been smuggling. This is what I've been working with one of the map creators in the community. It is a new, improved high view. Look at it. Sacred sites in the center. A win condition you can aim for. Trade posts in the center of the map. No more booming in a corner and basically playing more corner camping than a Call of Duty 4 player. This is it. This is what we're working towards. A new map that would work in a competitive sphere. And we're here with 2 competitive players. We've got Dragavan versus Gully Deckle in game number 4 of this show match to show off the new variant civ that a modder has created called Persia, which is a Delhi variant civ, and a new map to go alongside it. Dragavan on the other side, he was strictly told he could not pick Abbasids again. If you've not seen what he done in game number 2, be sure to have shots on hand is my advice. So what does he do? He says, oh, what, you won't let me pick Abbasids? I'm going to pick Ayyubids instead. Because what you've done is you've put me on a map of Stealth Forest on a civ that can get 300 wood for free at the start of an Asia. Guys, I'm warning you. He's going to do it again. Everyone right now who's looking at this game going, ooh, man, the Ayyubids are going to be like, they're definitely going to fast castle hit. No, trust me. Dragavan is going to use that wood. Oh, my God. No, it's not even the wood. It's the advancement wing. What? What is this build? I guess he wants archers soon on. Oh, my God, Gully! He went with the proxy racks! Guys, it's happening. It took 4 games of Persia, but we are getting an outpost rush. An outpost rush like no other. That Spearman, remember, the way Persia works is they start with 5 villages instead of 6, but they get a Spearman. The Spearmen are weak in the standard ones, but look at what they can do. They can build. He built the racks out here, and now I think he's getting ready to grief the deer and drop outposts on the gold. The problem with this player, guys, any normal Ayyubid player, this would work. This is not a normal Ayyubid player. This is a clown-carring Abbasid player pretending to be an Ayyubid player. There's only one thing Dragavan cares about, I guarantee you this. He's doing the exact... Like, they're actually proxying each other. Guys, I said no more mirrors for the series. They are mirroring each other's... Like, this might be the first time I have ever cast both players proxying each other. I have cast well over 1,000 games already before, I think, at this stage. It must be. Like, I hope not. I don't know. Like, I am well over 2,000 hours into AoE 4 in-game and God knows how many outside a game. And I don't think in all that time I have ever seen a game where both players mirror proxy. Here we go. Dragavan. A little bit surprised he didn't actually go for the industry wing choice because that's what he usually likes to go for because he gets the wood immediately to build archery ranges. But this could work too. And Gully Deckle right now is like, haha, I've got you now. You activated my trap card. Outpost Rush OP. Better than Mongols. Swag glasses. New Civ incoming. Meanwhile, in Dragavan land, in an area of the map where Gully Deckle hasn't even looked yet. And here's the problem. I don't think he scouted him moving out, because if he did, Gully Deckle would be building anything right now to defend. I can't believe Gully Deckle's probably going to lose a game in 15 minutes again on Persia. And it is going to be the Gunda Shapur. So this is the landmark that gives you eco or military upgrades, but you can only choose one path. Those can get you things like a better fresh foodstuffs, cheaper farms, the ability to sell food for gold. That can also, on the military wing side, get you cheaper archers, though, and get you better attacking men-at-arms. So very critical choice to make here. And it's beginning. He's going to build a siege tower in the forest. Do it. Do it. I know he wants to do it. This is Dragavan literally doing the same thing as game number 2. He's moving in, though, without a siege tower. Instead, he's going to jump him. Gully Deckle trying to move out in the berries, and he's like, oh no, not again. Where did they come from? How did they get here? Dragavan, he's going to build a siege tower now with 4. Actually, I think he's doing a different build. Last time, Dragavan built a siege tower with 2 or 3, and it didn't feel like it had enough firepower. I think he's going to wait for 10 archers and then build the siege tower. Because then you have maximum damage output, right? And that means you're doing 50 damage. These villagers only have 50 health, so it's an insta-kill. Oh, did I accidentally give Gully a second point? Wait, no, Gully is 2 points up. Yeah. So remember, Gully won the mirror. Gully just won the Malian game. I've got a feeling that even without this being a play 05, we're going to get a game 5 if it was a BO5. Because the broken siege tower's on the way. I can't believe I just called it broken. Wow. What a crazy game. Gully, what's the reaction going to be here? His tech up's about to complete. You could probably go stables. I think you have to go stables. And yes, Kaivayu loves doing this with his maps. He likes to use the sun setting quite a lot. This is the step biome. I like how I'm like, yeah, let's test this map out and see if it's good. I'm going to have to run more show matches, aren't I? Because of these two. We are not getting to test the map as much as we are getting to test the memes. Oh my god, Dragon. Dragavan. Wait, Gully's doing the same thing again. He tried this before with the 7 tower range archers. It just didn't work. I don't think it'll work this time. He actually needs stables. Stables is the only way you can win this. He's trying to outpost rush with the spears, but if he's not quick about this, he's just going to get beaten to the punchline. Right now, 15 idle villagers in the base of Gully Deckle. Dragavan on a solo mission to get siege towers nerfed. And everyone will ask how it ever came to this. GG called already. Dragavan with the double cheese. I had to make predictions short because I don't really know how long this one's going to be. It's time for the final game of our show match, showing off the brand spanking new variant Civ, Persia itself, a Delhi variant Civ. In this game, Gully Deckle's statement behind the scenes was, let's make it close. I pick Mongols. So they're kind of teasing about Persia at the moment, because one thing we've been noticing from testing this Civ, its mid and late game seems kind of cool, and there's some interesting mechanics, but its early game is really slow, and the players are struggling to find a way around that. So at least by Gully Deckle picking Mongols, if Dragavan can survive the opening minutes with Persia here, he's in for a good shot. And I'm hoping this game goes longer than 10 minutes, because I was really hoping we'd be able to show off how the new improved high view, called Pigeon's View that we created, stops these stupidly late games that feel redundant. Because trade isn't easy, Sacred Site win conditions are feasible. So if we get into that mid-game, we might just be able to prove that this truly is a 10 times better version of high view. So Mongols are going to go for the racks opening, so we are going to get a Spearman Rush. Dragavan, build something. Build it fast, my friend. You may need an outpost. Actually, ooh. If Gully gets a double outpost drop, this is problematic. That's an insane amount of resource value. Then again, Dragavan has shown that he likes going for this second TC farm approach. So if he leans into that again with the Persians, he might not care about the deer. Then again, if you do choose that approach, I could easily see the Mongol player here just going for trade. Remember, although the trade posts are mid-map, they are still maximum distance. So you can get good bang for buck out of Silvertree. It's just you need to be present and able. You can't camp in a corner with this. And he is doing it again. Rudkin Castle now on the way. I love how he just surfed in there. Remember, the Zamnidar are weaker spearmen, but they build structures. So this is really smart. He's getting some assistance. That's why it shows us 5 working on this. Oh, unfortunately for Dragavan not to cancel the mining camp, though. I think that was a bit of a mistake. Like, with this build that Dragavan does, he doesn't really care about gold, right? So I'm not expecting him to go back out into it. I guess you could argue that the tech up should happen first, and I'm pretty sure the Rudkin Castle is in range of the gold. So remember, this is a King's Palace an age earlier, but the catch is that you pay 3 times more to get villages out of it. It's 150 food per. Or if you put that TC on deer, he'd die. You can't TC the deer, you die. You're playing against Mongols. If you walk out of your base to drop a landmark, you're dead. So he's got the correct call. This is unfortunate, though. The outpost is coming up where we expected. I wouldn't be surprised if he crawls tree lines now, because Gully Deckle's already seen this build once in game number 3, where Dragavan attempted a similar build against the Malians. Gully, understanding what this build is going to be, should just circle the base and outpost. Because Dragavan, with this second TC, the thing I really don't like about the Rudkin Castle is the choice. When you do this, you're basically saying, I can't attack you. Right? You're spending so much food on villager production, there's no way you're building an army. So you pretty much forfeit any position on the map straight away. That's perfect for a Mongol player. It means they can just surround your base with outposts. This is going to look like an old school Mongol game. And yeah, I said it before, I actually think Rudkin Castle is just worse than the other landmark choice. Because if you go for the eco wing choice and the economy landmark, you can get villages insanely cheap. You can get 25 food each. And then you just buy a second TC, right? It's a lot more efficient. There's a bigger down payment, sure, but long term it pays off a lot better. You also keep flexibility. I feel like when you build Rudkin, you feel pressured to use it, and just the pressure of using it screws you over already. And that is surprising. This is the freest trade game I think you're ever going to get, but he went Deerstone. So Gully Deckle is looking to break Dragavan's record of a 6.5 minute victory. I don't think that's going to happen, but we are going to see an aggressively focused game from Gully. Gully, no. Please tell me you've seen the... Wait, I don't think Gully checked... I'm going to check with him afterwards, but I'm almost certain Gully Deckle didn't look at this map beforehand. Because I can't think of a single reason why you'd want Deerstone over Silvertree here. I feel like Silvertree is a lot better in this game. I'm just wondering, because like it's not showing on the map for him, right? But like he should see this, so he should know about this. This must be a conscious choice, so Deerstone it is. And Max on the wood, so we are either heading into a second TC build or archery range. I think this is second TC. That's really smart though, like second TC versus worst TC, right? You're going to be a lot more eco-efficient, so you're going to see a return on your investment a lot earlier than your opponent. Yeah, we've seen this build before, right? Like, Deerstone to 2 TC is kind of underrated. People focus on Silvertree a lot, and it kind of makes sense, but now when you think about it, you can see why he doesn't want to do it. Look at what Dragavan's doing. Dragavan wholly expects trade. I don't think he's even scouted what it is yet. So he's already moving into Persian Horse Archers, which is a better Magadai. So actually, credit to him. Gully Deckle read ahead. If he'd gone for trade, his game would be dead right now. And thus the plot thickens. Archery range already in the way. That is going to be the perfect counter to Persian horse archers. They're units that look absurd, right? 1.69 movement speed, 12 damage, 3 attack speed, but can be reduced down to 1.5 by spending 30 gold on each Persian archer, by the way. But the reality is you're a 65 HP unit with 4 tower range. A handful of archers destroys you. Other side of this, Dragavan. The gold, if he has to come out onto the exposed points to go for this, there's always a turnaround opportunity here down the line. So that has me a little bit worried. Love that Dragavan is using the Jeanne D'Arc to build up the outposts. Remember, these only cost 50 wood because he built the Rudkin castle. Archery range also following this up. I'm pretty sure Gully just goes Keshiks now. You go 1-1-1, because if you go stables here, and your opponent is going to react by going into archers, I mean, Kamandars are just going to lose to Keshiks every day of the week. Yeah, there you go. Gully now dropping the stables. Another thing that's scary is Dragavan needs to remove this outpost immediately. The Yam from Deerstone. This is another detail that favors Gully Deckle, right? The reason he didn't do trade is, like we said, he'd be blocked out, but now the added benefit is you have the aura on the go. When you arrive for a fight here, your Keshik's going to gap close so quickly. Your archers are always going to be able to get on top of the enemy archers. This is the equivalent of like when you watch Lombos versus HRE with marching drills. HRE wins. Expensive trade here. Nothing gained, plenty lost. 140 resources down the drain. And that, folks, is why the Persian horse archers are going to be very difficult to find relevance for consistently. March towards the main. I wouldn't be surprised if Gully drops a blacksmith quickly here. Like, just one ram. Because remember, this is a King's Palace. It's 2.5k HP TC. It's not that tanky. Archers are going to roam around the back. And for now, Dragavan is only able to gather wood. Dragavan made this work. I mean, he is up by 8 villages, in fairness. I was kind of expecting Gully just to go 2TC. I think 2TC would have made a lot of sense. Because you would have had better scaling, right? Because think about it. Like, if you think Fresh Food Stuff looks broken for the savings, this is the opposite. This is genuinely the polar opposite of Fresh Food Stuffs. Scout also looking like he's going to be removed. Yeah, this is tough. You've been in range too long, so the Khan can chase you down now, right? So with the Scout gone, you don't even know what's coming next. Dragavan is playing a scary, blind game on Pigeon's View, a.k.a. newly improved High View. How many people have played a game on High View with no vision? Think about how spooky that is. It feels impossible to get anything right. That's what we've got here. Dragavan is at least getting a decent number of Kamandars together. Nice thing about this, at least, is when there's no outpost nearby, you can chase down. The problem is, if the outpost crawl continued, like, you'd be in trouble, right? Like, I actually would rather Gully play south side here with the movement speed from Yam, because you can just in and out, like a fast food joint. And yes, those archers are special, chat. So they have 5 more health than your standard archers, and they have 2 more tower range. Their other stats are all the same. They do cost more. You pay 100 resources instead of 80 per archer. So it's actually pretty balanced. Some people have said they think it's a bit weak, actually. I personally don't think it's too bad, because if you go for the other landmark, you can get militechs that reduce the wood cost by 20. So then you're paying normal archer costs, right? But you're getting 2 extra tower range. Keshik arriving. Dragavan, if only these were longbow, the damage he would do right now. And look at the Yam. 1.44 movement speed. This is what I was talking about. Like, this is the marching drills versus longbows effect. You just get in so quickly. No advantage is there. And instead, you've just spent more on these archers. Meanwhile, Gully spent less. And on top of that, he's been double producing with the passive stone. This is a GG push. Dragavan's going to lose so many villages to this. Tries to shift away now. I think it's too little too late, though. Keshiks just absorbing the remaining archer fire. Villagers nowhere to run and hide. Dragavan doesn't even have wheelbarrow. And just like that, the eco lead he paid so much to build up is gone. 45 versus 37 in this game feels like nothing when you consider the expense of getting these extra villages. Behind this, it looks like Gully is going for that second TC. The other tough part about this you have to remember now is, like, Dragavan hasn't got great food income. He's sitting at what? Roughly 600 food income, but he's spending 600 food a minute to produce villages. You guys realize that? This landmark costs him 450 food a minute. So, like, the only thing he can actually build is archers. He can't build horsemen, he can't build spearmen. Like, nothing else is feasible here. They're just too expensive. That's the brutal reality of Rodkin Castle. And the problem is, because you want to be optimal, you want to keep using it, right? But actually using it hurts your game more. There are probably moments where adding a few villages in here or there is good. But doing it constantly hurts your game. Gully now prepping the undermesh, and Dragovan still has no gold access. If you thought the damage done by that last push was impressive, this will be a GG push. This many archers, just a few Keshiks, the undermesh, I mean, the TC's doing a tickle. The walls are at least up, so that might save him a little here. But really, with a blacksmith already in place, you could just get siege engineering and go with a ram, right? The alternative is you just dive through the main. I actually don't think these defenses are that threatening when you've got undermesh. Can't go around the back, discover the bad news. So Gully should be looking to queue up siege engineering now. Dragovan. The food income has actually eclipsed the cost of producing villages now. So he could consider adding in maybe some spearmen to deal with the Keshiks. But the problem is there's so many archers that's not really negotiable, right? I think you actually have to go for your version of the Ghazi Raiders. It's not a bad choice either. Remember, these guys, they get Ghazi Raiders that have the health of Ghazi. They have damage of Horsemen, but they get +6 heavy instead of +2 heavy. So that means you're actually hitting as hard as Ghazi would against these Keshiks. $50 food, but 40 seconds might be a bit better. That could actually work. That's not the worst idea. Quadruple ram. He's going to clown car him. He's actually going to use irony, and it's going to be super effective. I mean, he doesn't need to get inside it, but after what Dragovan done to him 2 games in this series, you've got to return fire, right? Otherwise, you're admitting Dragovan's better at clown carring. Gully moving in with a quadruple ram. Keshik, in the meantime, distract the archer army. And here we go. Dragovan, with only archers, has to find some way, somehow, defending this. Walk out onto the map. Dragovan, he got scouted with this, though. Well, luckily for him, it looks like Gully wants static targets instead. He goes for the villagers inside the base. Keshik's wrapping around the backside. I mean, this is absurd. The amount of arrow fire coming in, they barely feel it. Rams deadening into the defenses. Gully Deckle just inches away from taking the economy lead. Rams onto the archery ranges to slow down the scale. It's 40 archers versus 22. No undermesh, no steeled arrow on one side. This is an overwhelming advantage for Gully. And the Keshiks found them. Villagers running out on the flanks have been scouted. They want that better gathering rate. They are not going to be able to get it. Brutal game. Persia, definitely a civ with a lot of potential here. I like the initial ideas, but to kind of round out this series, I think something's going to have to be done about the first 5 to 8 minutes. Possibly the slowest of all the civs in the game right now. Once that's fixed, I think we're looking at a civ that might slot in towards the mid-upper end of the pack. And a fun one at that. Some really cool units in here, some cool ideas around the idea of extra charge damage on infantry units, the extra ranged normal archers that cost more. There's a lot of cool ideas. We didn't even get to see the Camel Ozutsu, by the way. Hopefully we will next time. But I think it's undeniable at this stage that this game is over. Dragovan saluting him for actually not just immediately GGing, but it's 25 to 51. Sometimes you've just got to go, and it goes the full distance. Gully Deckle, because he won the mirror, in the end, is the victor in our first ever modded Civ show match.